Hello, welcome to the Sovereign Magazine Show, a transformational experience where conscious conversations meet embodied wisdom. Each episode invites visionary healers, thought leaders, and change makers to share their journeys of awakening, offering listeners practical tools and soul-stirring insights to reclaim their inner authority. We have the beautiful and amazing Ebonie Allard back today with her show, The Kismet Codes, Embodying Your Design. And if you missed most of the foundational episodes to this series, go back and listen to episodes 1 through 5. It's all about your human design, your type, your profile, your incarnation cross your centers. But today we're going to be focusing on embodying your values, shadows, light, and understanding your elemental self. So welcome back, Ebonie. And why don't you introduce
You.
yourself?
So I'm Ebonie Allard, sometimes known as Ebony Alchemy. And one of the reasons for that is that I help you to transmute your shadows into light or into gold. And we are actually going to dive a little bit more into why and what and how today. And this particular episode and the work that we're going to talk about stems from the value filter, which is a tool that I created and am known for. Created it in 2014. I did a traditional values elicitation with my coach training and then was like, so what? Now I know what my values are. Like, what is the point of this intellectual information? How do we use it? And so that is something that you'll find across all of my work. It's not just making myself look good or showboating wisdom and information. I am hugely passionate about you using that, the so what of it. What are the implications? What is the application of this wisdom so that you can enjoy your incarnation experience and your life?
Yes, so we'll be talking about our values and our shadows. In previous episodes, you've used your chart and my chart, and so we'll see what we're going to go into today. But you're talking about some of my most favorite topics, like values and shadows are like right there for me.
So, did you ever do like a traditional values elicitation where someone asks you some questions and it pulls out from you what you value?
No.
Okay, so this is good. This is great. When you are talking about values, let's just make sure we're on the same page. What are values?
For me, values would be your core values. Like what are your defining characteristics that help you with your morals, with your compass. That's what values are for me, and I have words that I stand by for those.
Okay. So, I love that as a as an explanation and a description, and the way that I have described it is that values are actually the measures that we are using to determine whether our life is turning out as we want it to or not.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
Ethics and morals are debatable. Doesn't
Okay.
matter, like it depends where you come from in the world, right? And they are all based on beliefs. And beliefs sit underneath our values. Values are the tabletop, beliefs are what define them. And we treat our beliefs often as if they're facts. They come from society, they come from our parents, they come from tradition, they come from the TV, and they are not facts, they are beliefs. And
Okay.
what they're being led by are values. Now, if you break that work down, it's what we value, what we are ascribing importance to. So the way that I elicit a value filter is rather than coming up with like 14 or 15 describing words that make you look good.
Mhm.
Oh, look, I value honesty. Oh, I value generosity. Oh, I value. Yeah, great. These are really nice sounding words, and you can find your people by using them.
Mhm.
But this is not a compass.
Okay. Okay. You're totally turning my thoughts upside down here. I want to hear more.
Uh-huh. So the value filter is a system whereby I ask three inciting questions that people get their knickers in a twist about, one of my favorite English expressions, and they want to pick. I'm like, when was it? Pick a time that you were the happiest. Pick a time when you were satisfied and fulfilled. Pick a time when you felt proud. Now, then what happens is people go off on a whole thing of trying to find the perfect moment, and it doesn't matter. It can be when you were two, it can be 10 minutes ago. What we need is a memory that has emotional resonance, right? Like it's stuck with you, there's something in you, or whatever comes to you in the moment that I'm asking it.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I do is I find out, and what about that was important? And
Mm-hmm.
what about that stuck with you? Or what was the sense that you had about yourself? And so, what my work is when I'm getting someone's core values is we're getting underneath.
Mm-hmm.
And what I discovered many, many years ago is that when we do this work, there are lots of words that will be repeated, but then they fall into categories and almost buckets. So it's like, okay, freedom, autonomy, independence, liberation, they're space, light, they're all the same quality of energy. And so what I would say to someone is like, what's the biggest bucket, right? Like, and so for me, it was like, well, if I had freedom, then I'd have all these other things. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense so far?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Great. So when we then end up with these values, what I then discovered is that there is the thing that we are seeking that is also seeking us, the thing that feels the most important and that is kind of our true north, right? Like our highest value. And most people spend their life pursuing that.
Mm.
And in that pursuit, they forget to live.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
what happens in my world is I get you to leave it there. It's an outcome. It's not something to be chased, it's an outcome. Let's turn around and look at the other two values. Now, those other two values are actually your yin and your yang, your warrior and your healer, your sun and your moon.
Mm-hmm.
And what we end up with is essentially your feminine value and your masculine value.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was 2014. And that broke people's minds and helped them really understand. And actually, at the beginning, everyone can identify their masculine value and the like where I'm headed value, but far fewer people could actually identify satisfied and fulfilled. Their feminine value was so
Mm-hmm.
difficult for people. And so I worked with people, and then what happened is we gave them an embodied experience of living it and also the absence of it. I started to help people to find a way to understand when they were compensating for
Mm-hmm.
and when they were allowing it to lead their lives. And this tool became a really great way to know if something was for you or not for you, and
Mm-hmm.
to know whether something, so also it's like, well, will doing this put you in your value filter? Sometimes, in fact, just before I came on today, I was like, oh, I don't really want to do this. And then I asked myself the question that I ask myself every day, will doing this put me in my value filter? And I was like, no, I've just got my bleed. I'm not in the mood. I'm really tired. Will having done it put me in my value filter? Hell yes. Great. Then show up. What do you need? Right. And so this, it becomes a decision making tool. And it also becomes a like, okay, well, what I need, and you can use it kinesthetically, what I need is for it to be more feminine or more wild, more uninhibited. So I need to be more comfortable. Okay, so then I'll go and get changed, or I'll change the lighting, or and so it becomes a really practical tool to help you work out exactly what you need to be living your values day on day.
This is like so spot on with what I'm feeling right now because I'm showing up more visibly in Sovereign. And that was the question I asked myself. How do I make this easy for me to show up? And that is showing up more. And now I have a term for it, the femininity, which means like unstructured. Like if my hair looks like crap, oh well. If I'm in my gym clothes, oh well, that it was the masculine structure around it that kept me from being visible.
It's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So then what happened as I deepened this, and so inside the Valley Filter, I call that the 3D version. I then started to understand that working with feminine and masculine or warrior and healer energy wasn't enough. And I did 500 value elicitations and got the same thing happening over and over again, which was that we ended up with like double barreled words. And then and all along this time, I'm studying polarity, I'm studying energy, I'm studying the chakras, like all of the different things that I study and that you know about me. And then I realized that we have both static and dynamic energy in the masculine and feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we started working with finding two words, finding a dynamic masculine and a static masculine, finding a dynamic feminine and a static feminine word. And then my 3D triangle, my value filter, became a pyramid because switches over. You get your four on the bottom, the one at the top, and that one at the top is still the outcome. It's still what you get. But what happened is this became so for most people in 3D, it was freedom or like unity or love, right? And then what happened when we moved it into 5D is nearly everyone's became what became lovingly known in my community as belongdom or free longing, belonging and freedom together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And for me, this came from a place of I chased freedom and independence until I was financially free, until I didn't need anybody, until I was like, I had made it, I was successful, right? And lonely as hell. And then I was like, oh, freedom is not everything without belonging, without unity, without love, without people to share it with.
Mm-hmm.
And so, again, we need this kind of intersection of these four parts. And then I recognized that there were elements in these four areas. And at this point, I am going to show you a visual. And this is, I was thinking, like, how do I keep this simple for this episode? And so I'm just going to share one particular slide or page from one of the workbooks, which I think is going to help me to illustrate where I then went next. And so we've got this little page here because, let's see if we can come. No, we're going to leave it there. Because I then divided it up. Now, we're getting quite complicated now,
Mm-hmm.
but it gets fun. And this is what we do in the Valley Filter, and I really, really adore it. So I said we've got masculine on this side,
Okay.
feminine on this side. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then we have receptive or static or yin down the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And we have active or dynamic or yang across the top.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, oh, okay, well, my dynamic masculine is the fire element.
Mm-hmm.
My static masculine is the earth element.
Mm-hmm.
My static feminine is the water element.
Mm-hmm.
And my dynamic feminine is the air element. And then this is where it gets just so fun and beautiful. We are born into water. We are in the womb. Yeah.
Oh.
And from the womb and from water, we start to individuate and we move up into fire. You know, when you're like 3 years old and you're like, I can do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're
Mm-hmm.
in this place and we start to individuate and we find our sovereignty, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then we want to know if we can do it ourselves. We want to make ourselves real in the world. And so we activate our warrior, we build things of earth. And then from there, at a certain point, we've built and built and built and built and built, and maybe we have our kind of corner office or our home or our career or our family, whatever it is that we have built, and it all starts to tip and chaos starts to happen, and we get what's lovingly known as our midlife crisis, or we move into a kind of old age where air and wisdom of the magician starts to come in. and then we drop back down into water. Now, this cycle is a birth and death cycle, and it happens throughout our life, but it also happens season on season, over and over and over again.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
And within all of that, there are archetypes. And this is where the shadow work starts to come in. So we have our lover in water, the shadow of which is the prostitute. So the lover is the guardian of our values, that we are just love in water, right? We're born into this place of pure desire of the things that we want from a really innocent place. We're here
Mm,
to experience in life. And then we want to go out and get them on our own, self led, right? This is sovereignty, being self led, inner mastery. And we want to add, we want to do good, we want to create in the world. But if it's not appreciated, if it's not valued, if no one sees us, we wonder if we did something wrong, and our inner child is activated, and that is the shadow of the sovereign. And if we get that far, and if we've decided, no, I'm going to take on, I'm going to own my desire, I'm going to take it out into the world, I'm going to build it, I'm going to create something, we will come up against obstacles and trials and challenges, and our warrior can either commit and overcome them or enlist other armies and allies, or the shadow appears of the victim or the martyr.
mhm, mhm,
And at a certain point, the storm hits, and it doesn't matter how strategic we were. We could never see the flood coming, and our soldiers are all wiped out, or the plane is flooded. And it is the magician who can rise above it all to the highest point and see all the different options, or let go and let God and let something on the air sweep it all away and something else happen. But if we're not willing to trust and have faith, then the saboteur is the shadow that steps in. Now, how does all of that relate to everything else that we've been talking about? Well, what I've just shared with you is also your incarnation cross. It's also your activation sequence. It links into the four corners of the jigsaw of your life, of your incarnation experience. And we can, and what I do inside the value filter and in Embody Your Design is go really deep into the specifics of your sun, earth, and then unconscious sun and earth as well that fit even more beautifully over the top of this model. Yeah. I feel like I've just
It-
explained like 12 years worth of work in 20 minutes.
But it was so beautiful to see from 2014 to now and how you were given kind of like this next layer of blooming and expansion into each part of it, and that it's not just one little element, right? And
And it's been such a beautiful journey. So I developed the value filter off the back of and responded, manifesting generator responded to an elicitation, an NLP elicitation, which I was like, this doesn't work for me. It's not enough. And I developed it into what I said, right, with the warrior and the healer and the yin and the yang and the sun and the moon. And I was like, I feel like there are different intelligences, like different parts of us. And then I discovered MBIT, multiple brain integration technique. And I went and did my training. There was a training like the next weekend just down the road from me. And so I signed up and I went and I met my teacher, my incredible teacher, Red. And the model fits exactly over. And so that bit that we're seeking, that's also seeking us, that I told you to let go of, it's the outcome. That's our head brain. So it's the one that we
mm,
always want first because we're most attuned to, because society is tuning it to us. Our heart intelligence is our feminine,
mhm,
and our gut intelligence is our masculine, and that's 3D.
mm,
And then I went and did my master coach. I've now done it twice, but when I did my master coach level, that's 5 brains, and that goes then into the 5D version. And so then we add in the pelvic brain and the autonomic nervous system. And this is something that sums up why I bring together values, shadow work, understanding what frequency and light and raising your vibration really means, understanding your elemental self, bringing all of these pieces together into embodiment, and meeting creativity with science. And so, what I love when we work with the value filter is that people start to draw it. People have made playlists of it. We've got really like anatomical drawings. Everyone works with it in their own way, and it's a really beautiful way of you gazing your own design.
Yes, yes, and revealing how you're supposed to flow in this thing we call life in your own
And for me,
unique
it's the bridge, right? So then, when I started sharing it with other people and with all of the, it took me years and years and years to like recognize the value, the weight of all of these different modalities that I'd synthesized together. And then when I learned about my design as a manifesting generator 5-2, who is about practical, applicable wisdom naturally, and my cross, my incarnation cross, is the left angle cross of distraction. So that means that essentially everything about my entire life and how I'm designed is here to help you to understand what is a distraction and what to focus on. And it's summed up in this tool, the value filter.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Well,
Yes.
is there anything else you'd like to share before we part ways?
No, I'm just really, really excited for people to start piecing these things together. And I think in our next episode, I'm going to start helping you to really go, okay, I think I've got all of my component parts, I've got my ingredients, and we're going to start making cake.
I was going to say it's time to bake.
Yeah.
We're going to be baking our kismet cake.
Yes.
Our kismet cake. It's so cute. Okay, so the next one is embodying your kismet codes and understanding your soul's contract. So definitely like, share, subscribe, comment below. It helps us reach more people. Ebonie is in our community, community.sovereign-magazine.com. Her soul contract guide is free, or chart, I should say. Your chart is free. So definitely that link is in the comments below or the show notes below. And she has all sorts of resources for you, and she's everywhere. You can find her everywhere. So no shortage of Ebonie. She's also on Substack as well. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you for having me.